Communication by Anna Batchelor. What is communication? Communication is the process of transmitting information from one person to create a shared understanding and feeling. The communication process. There are 6 parts to the communication process. The first is encoding. Secondly, the message. Thirdly, the channel. Next is decoding. The 5th step is feedback, and the 6th is noise, and it is the final step of the process. Nonverbal communication. Body language is a body movement such as a gesture or expression that conveys information to another. An example would be a worker slouching in front of their boss. The slouching could show the boss that the worker is uninterested or bored of the conversation. Verbal intonation is the emphasis given to spoken words and phrases, like a lifeguard yelling at the pool, "Stop running!" Communication barriers. Selective perception is hearing or seeing what you would like to out of a situation. Misperception is sometimes messages aren't always perceived by the receiver in the way that the sender is intended. Kind of like a misunderstanding of what they're saying. Filtering is information that is withheld or distorted to influence the message ultimately received. Information overload is receiving so much detail or information about something that it is impossible to process it. A culture barrier is anything that blocks or changes the message that the sender intended to communicate, and that can create a barrier. Listening skills are really important when you're trying to communicate. Listening and hearing are not the same thing. Listening is when an active search for a meeting. Ways to be a good listener. Pay close attention to individual facts and make useful and logical connections. Give the speaker clear evidence that you are listening. For example, have good body language or eye contact. And then you want to show respect to the speaker and offer speaker honest, clear, and timely acknowledgement that what was said was heard. Writing skills are also important in communication. Effective business writing isn't just about grammar and punctuation. Style and tone are needed to be appropriate for whoever is receiving the message. A few good guidelines to go by when writing is write to express, not to impress, support your reasoning, make sure length, language, and evidence suit your audience, remember to edit and revise if you don't think it sounds right, and write with energy and avoid passive voice. Few types of organizational communication are downward communication, which occurs when higher level colleagues want to communicate with lower level colleagues. And then upper communication is when lower level colleagues want to communicate to higher level managers, bosses, or colleagues. Richard Branson said that communication is the most important skill any leader can possess. Richard Branson is a successful entrepreneur. He says that it is like riding a bike. If you work for it, it will improve every part of your life. He believes that communication is an art, and that if it is used correctly, it can be the difference between you and in competition. Social networking is a set of relationships with people connected through friends, family, work. Social networks are formed in organizations to allow exchanges of info from one employee to another. Bill Gates once said, "Communication skills and the ability to work well with different types of people are very important." Software innovation, like almost every other kind of innovation, requires the ability to collaborate and share ideas with other people, and to sit down and talk with customers and get feedback and understand their needs. He believes that innovation and being able to communicate effectively are very important abilities to becoming successful. Communication happens every day. From verbal to nonverbal, messages are being sent. Having the ability to control and utilize it can be the difference between you and a competitor. As Richard Branson and Bill Gates said, "If you take the time to learn it best, you will succeed. Use it to your advantage."